list of AD carries. That's not going to be the same here though. Kha'Zix banned out by Alliance, and again, Alexic is a great Kha'Zix player.
So Alliance are removing the champions they don't want to face off against, getting Alex onto a little bit more of a farming champion. He doesn't have these assassins. There's still Zed available, and we have seen Alex playing Zed in the past. We've even seen him on Fizz in the last split. It's if he wants to go an assassin route. But what I do like is it's forcing now Gambit to decide, do they ban Elise? Do they leave it open? Because there's a lot of powerful picks that are still up. Elise, Trundle, Thresh, Lulu, for example, and that's where Alliance are going.
Yep, Lulu picked up straight away there for Alliance, and let's not forget Lulu. Such versatility that she has right now. We've seen her in the support role, in the mid lane, in the top lane as well, so really a lot of versatility on that front. On the other side, we did see Caitlyn as a final ban, which makes me wonder if Tabs is thinking, you know what, I'd love to play Vayne last year. I played Vayne amazingly well yesterday against Roccat. Am I going to go for it again? On the other side, his opposite number's going to have Sivir now locked in there for Gambit, and they're looking forward to that Wukong in the jungle once again.
So I'm a little bit surprised at the two AD carry bans. I think that with Genja, he's basically played Lucian or Jinx, and he's picked Jinx into many different compositions. He can also play a number of other champions. There's going to be some focus in this bottom lane. I wouldn't be surprised to see Diamond maybe ganking or trying to get involved there. Taking away that Wukong and the Sivir from Alliance is also champions that Alex himself said the likes of Karthus, which is still up, the likes of Sivir, Karthus, Wukong, those are champions that Alliance have won with in the past, so it's double duty stealing those away, denying them from Alliance.
What will Alliance go with next here? And that Thresh, we mentioned it earlier on, Nif played only Thresh so far in this Super Week, all three of them being wins as well. Funnily enough, before that, he'd not won a game when he played Thresh. But we are going to see Thresh Draven locked in here for Tabs. And funnily enough, when the Draven got banned yesterday, we were thinking, wow, Draven really against Tabs? But these guys obviously know something that we hadn't spotted.
Yeah, so from what happened after the games, and we were chatting to the players, Alliance was saying, actually, yes, we have been scrimming with Draven, we have been practicing it offline. So this will be the first time we're seeing it in Tabs' hands in the LCS. It is a very aggressive lane. If you can get some stacks of adoration, you want to farm early on. You ideally don't want to go for kills until you can really maximize that gold bonus that you get from Draven. So we'll see how quickly Tabs can, get that early gold stacking up in his favor.
What will we see Gambit going for you there? Currently have Irelia, and Darian had a big smile on his face. It'd be interesting to see Darian actually pick that up and go against Wicked, but they've got Aatrox in there, which makes me think that Darian will be playing that there in the top lane, and indeed Genja will switch away to Annie as the support for Edward. Let's not forget Annie's performance. Edward's performance on Annie yesterday, where he had over 400 AP by the end of the game, and actually finished that one 6-9 against the Wolves.
Yeah, just a few items. Had a Void Staff thrown in there. I think he picked up a Twin Shadows right as the game was ending as well. Really a lot of ability power. What I'm liking from Gambit's composition is they're going to run you down. There is so much mobility in the Wukong, the Aatrox, the Sivir, and when, Annie's going to have that speed buff from Sivir as well, there's going to be a lot of mobility in Gambit's team fighting. I almost expect Gambit to look for early fights as well because of the power of the Aatrox, the Wukong, and the Sivir in positions like the jungle or the Dragon Pit, for example. It's going to give them a very strong early advantage because of the power of that teamfight comp they already have.
Seems like we're going to be seeing Irelia once again here for Wicked, and he actually said on Twitter earlier on today, headed to the studio, going to unpack Irelia once again and play her all day long, and looks like he's going to do that here against Gambit. So Irelia top lane, and then the jungler for Shook will be Lee Sin, a champion which he's provided some highlight moments on this week already.
Yes, and I actually think everybody that's played Lee Sin in recent weeks has been phenomenal. Amazing was doing it 2 weeks ago. We've seen Diamond picking it up. We've seen Shook doing very well with it. Everybody's getting involved. The very interesting thing to me is that Elise has made it completely through this picks and bans. She has not been featured. She has not been played at all, and it doesn't even look like she's a consideration.
What are they going to go with for the mid lane? Up against Lulu for Froggen. What will Alexic have? And it's going to be Kayle, actually, switching through a few of them, but Kayle will be picked up here for Alexic. Obviously, Kayle been played a little bit less here. The last time, actually, that Gambit played that Kayle was against SK Gaming, where they ended up losing, but Alexic had a good performance. Like, we know how strong he can be on Kayle.
Yeah, so this is Kayle after the changes. We have seen Kautard with her in the mid lane. We've seen Enrated playing her in the support role, and I believe this is only the third Kayle since the nerfs to her Q. The one thing that it is very interesting about the lock-in now is there's still a movement speed increase on her heel. So you've got all of this mobility on the side of Gambit. They quite literally want to run circles around Alliance. Over on the other side of Alliance, you've also got a fair amount of mobility. Draven can move and get a speed buff. Lee Sin and Lulu have got movement speed increases. What this tells you is these team fights are going to be very drawn out, and unless somebody gets very caught out and instantly blown up, they could drag on for a while. Both teams running around trying to position and get damage on the right targets. Well,
we're just about to get this one underway, so let's check the votes that you've been voting for over on LOLesports.com. It looks like 73% of you have gone with Gambit to win this game. For me, more toward 50-50 is where I'd put mine.
I think so too. This is a very difficult game to call. Alliance have been performing very well in Super Week. If they win this game, they go 4-0. If they win this game, they've been undefeated, and they have played flawlessly. I think if you go back to their 3 previous games, they weren't flashy necessarily.
Yeah.
They played it slow, they played it patiently, they played the objectives, and they got all 3 wins.
It's almost as if they watched the Copenhagen Wolves and said, what are they doing right? Because we need a little bit of that, and it has been safety, playing very, very safe, not overextending, not taking any big risks around those objectives, and simply pushing the game through for the win. But we are going to get into game then. It will be Alliance versus Gambit to kick off our final day of Super Week. An epic Super Week it's been as well. Hopefully, the games live up to that here today as well.
Yes, I would very much like to see that happen. I think this mid lane matchup, it's one that Alex is going to be intimately aware of. When he played the Lulu in the mid lane for the very first time a couple of weeks back, it was actually against Kautar, and Kautar was playing Lulu. So this is a reverse of that matchup, and it is something that we have seen a number of times. There have been changes to Kayle, and we'll see if that movement speed increase on her heel will actually maybe allow her to dodge some glitter lances or stay out of range of that health picks. We'll have to see how the lane plays out.
Also interested to see how Tabs does with Draven, to be honest with you. As I mentioned yesterday, earlier, the Vayne that he played against Roccat last night was incredible. The performances on Caitlyn were brilliant as well. He's got to bring that similar kind of level here to this Alliance team because he's been a big part of their victories so far this week.
Yeah, there is the very big growth potential of that passive from Draven. You know, if he manages to get some adoration stacks built up and gets a couple hundred gold early on, that's where he can get like an early spike in damage over that of Sivir. If you look at both of these lanes, you've got a lot of similarity in them. Both of the top laners want to build damage. They want to be really disrupting the backline. Both of the junglers throw themselves into the enemy team. Both of these mid laners have got a save someone's life button, you know, wild growth on one side, intervention on the other. And it really is going to come down to whichever team can use their mobility and their CC more effectively sooner. Because at this point in time, everybody can move and save one another. So I'm expecting some very dramatic team fights.
Looking at the start positions of the junglers, it seems like both of them will be kicking off their paths, taking their own blue buffs. Diamond actually not getting any help. Shook did have a helping hand from Wicked on their top side of the map though. Now in this bottom lane, early first bit of damage actually coming out from Genja and Edward on towards Nif. But again, bit of a race to level 2 to see if anything happens down there.
Yeah, and I think in terms of this lane matchup, the Draven Thresh into Sivir Annie, it's actually not a combo we see often. Nif going early on Edward.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage actually onto Edward. And again, they weren't feeling confident enough to go all in on that one. Genja completely ignored on the top side. He was just doing damage that entire time. So first wave goes down. We can see that both of them trying to get in towards that level 2 area first of all. These supports making sure that they add their own little bit of damage into this one. Are they going to hit level 2? Nif's gone off to the side. He does hit level 2. Will the hook come out from him? Not just yet.
Yeah, now the one thing that is good about Genja being on Sivir is he's going to be able to block at least the Flay or the Descent. He needs to time his spell shield effectively to prevent being completely locked down. But on the side of Alliance, because they've got multiple forms of CC, you can use the stand aside, the Flay, and then the Death Sentence. One of those can pop the spell shield, you can lock Genja down. Whenever we see these Dravens, you sort of assume Draven is a bit of a lane bully, a bit of a, you know, early game aggressive AD carry. But I actually feel like because you want to get those passive stacks building up, you tend to see Dravens farming for a while until they maybe get a couple levels and then looking to go aggressive, then looking to, you know, get in your faces with those spinning axes.
They're going to look to try and shut down Alexic early in this one. There is the slow coming in, flash use, and Chuck's going to flash in there. They're going for this one, and they get it as well. Perfectly orchestrated gang onto the mid lane, but at the top lane now, Wicked's going to come under pressure as Diamond moves in. Who's tanking up the turret? That will be Darian. He's got his Bloodwell to fall back on if things don't go right for him. It will get popped, but they take down Wicked. A kill in the mid and a kill in the top lane.
So trading 1 for 1. We talked about how this game could get explosive early, and that was a very good play. First of all, Shook landed everything he needed to onto Alex. They did need to burn their flashes to secure the kill, but definitely worth it when you can give Froggen a bit of an early advantage on that Lulu. Up in the top lane, I think that was a fairly straightforward dive. Making use of Darian's Bloodwell passive, just diving. As soon as he gets taken up by the turret, it resets the turret aggro to the minions, and Gambit get out unscathed.
Which has left the duos in the bot lane probably wondering what's going on. They've been fairly quiet up until now. If you look at the early CS, Tabs doing a great job of that one. About to hit the 30 mark, Genja only just passing 20.
Now, I want to see if Gambit continue to repeat those ganks in the top lane. When we've seen Wicked on Irelia last year and, playing for the old CLG EU lineup, teams would quite legitimately gank and camp top lane often. Keeping Wicked down or keeping Froggen down was one of the differences or one of the ways to beat the team. If you can put Wicked a little bit on tilt on a champion that he's very comfortable with, maybe make him question some of his engages, it could be a very smart way for Gambit to extend the control that they could gain.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that, because the time when that was something done almost every game for the opponents of CLG EU was the time where Wicked was still playing Irelia. Back onto that champion now, of course, as we see Diamond trying to be sneaky coming through the river here. Will be spotted by a ward, so Alliance aware of Wukong and simply walk back away. Diamond going to do exactly the same, realizing he's been seen.
It's quite nice to see Diamond actually ganking quite early on that Wukong. Generally, you tend to see the Wukongs like farm to level 6 as quickly as possible, in a similar vein to like a Vi. Get the ultimate, get the knock-up, and then chain together the ganks and the kills. But as you see, Diamond was showing his face, made Tabs and Nif back off, and now the psychological pressure of, okay, we know Diamond is nearby, they need to be quite calculated with the next time they shove this wave all the way up.
Bottom lane may see a little bit more action. We saw yesterday how effective Lee Sin with Thresher's Lantern can really be, coming from seemingly out of nowhere to join in those lanes and make his presence felt. And well, if you can kick him into a hook as well, that always helps.
Definitely does. Was one of those big plays. I think with Shook having... I actually think Shook's probably got a lot of confidence from this week's games. He's played very well. He's pulled out some champions that we haven't seen him play in recent weeks. Pulled out the Lee Sin, hadn't played it in a couple of games. But he's doing very well on them. He got the first blood already this match. And it is something that Shook does fairly effectively, helping his team secure that first blood. The question is, where does he go from there? Because now he's just gone back to the jungle, farming himself up. He also went for the Madrids yesterday, and they've taken a lot of poke.
Yeah, I don't know. Lose about half of his health. Actually, Draven had already backed away. Tabs was already recalling off home to spend that little advantage that he's got, and it's going to gift him a BF sword coming back into lane. We can see that Genja got his second Doran's Blade and a long sword as well. We'll see if he goes for a very Genja-esque build with 3 Doran's Blades by the end of it.
It is a possibility, and I think with Genja falling a little bit behind early on, he's down on CS, they've been pushed against their wave, and Tabs and Nif have asserted some control in that lane. I think it could help, but unfortunately, the big attack damage disparity between those two AD carries will start to show. I actually think now is the time where Tabs and Nif can start trying to look for more kills. Every time we've been seeing that lane, it's just really been poking more about controlling the wave and where it was in the lane, as opposed to trying to secure kills for yourself.
Now mid lane, where Froggen did manage to secure that kill earlier on with the hands, or with the help of Shook in with him. Now got that chalice on top of his Doran's ring. Alexic having to go for a second Doran's item to compensate for what happened earlier on. And we can see that Shook moving up in towards the Gambit jungle, but Gambit have got vision of him. He's gone over a ward. Yeah, now we do see immediately Darian is responding to this. Diamond does have Cyclone as well. Shook should be able to get out though. Yeah, you can imagine so. He's going to actually have Froggen coming to help him, but in the bottom lane, Nif gonna take down Edward, and there is the aggression that you were talking about after the BF sword pickup. It is exactly what you do with Dravens. You farm up that adoration, you work yourself in there, and then you go for a kill.
kill. Unfortunately, it was Nif that got the kill credit. So it means that Tabs doesn't get that bonus gold right now. But nevertheless, the moment they got that attack damage, Alliance go aggressive, they grab a kill. They're going to look to do that again and probably try to focus Edward more. He doesn't have a spell shield, he doesn't have flash anymore, and it may even be easier to grab him as long as you can land some crowd control.
Not really got a lot to work with that one, and the kill going over to Nif. We've seen this week actually the support's picking up a lot of kills. See that one again down in the bottom lane and see exactly how Edward went down. So
that was actually Edward and Genja starting the fight on Nif. You've seen that Tabs was in the river as that one started out. Tabs was just placing a ward down, and he immediately just put that adrenaline rush down, got a nice movement speed, and made it into lane quickly enough. I think a little bit of bravado from Edward, maybe, didn't need to go in for that poke.
I think the outcome kind of tells us yes.
Yeah.
Didn't really need to go in for that one. In this top lane, we saw Darian's blood well popped early on. Does have that back, and yeah, they're going to try and dive Wicked once again for this one, aren't they? Aren't we going to see the knockup coming in? Slow's already down. Cyclone comes in as well. Darian will jump away to the back, comes out of turret range, and that was even cleaner than the first one.
They didn't use their flashes. There was just ultimates used, and that was it. Alliance, however, realized the dragon is available. So Gambit are going to secure the first tower of the game, and Alliance will grab the first dragon. I think that's a trade that Gambit will be happy with. If you think back to all of their discussions and chats, they said dragon respawns, tower does not.
That is very, very true. Wicked actually going to be teleported in to this top lane, and I tell you what, they might actually be able to take him again. Wicked goes aggressive, gets knocked up, he's going to have to flash away. Darian's Bloodwell is going to get popped. They're surely going to go back in on top of him. Tanking up the turret here is Diamond. They go low. Wicked gets the one kill, but he dies again.
1 for 1, giving another kill to Darian and expending teleport. Now Froggen may be able to even this one up. He should get Darian.
Yeah, I don't see a way out of that one, and there is a shutdown. So, you know, Wicked sacrificing himself almost there to pick up 2 kills for Alliance, and that'll be a happy trade for them by the end of it if you look at the whole picture.
Yes, so in terms of kills, and not only did Wicked grab himself a kill 1 for Froggen, he also prevented a lot of damage being dealt to that inner turret. It is a small win, but it is something that I think is probably a fairly good decision at the end of the day. It has also allowed Alliance to group up in this mid lane. They've dropped that mid turret to about 50%. Shook sticking out a little longer than maybe he should have.
Alex struggling a little in that mid lane though. Does have his stinger in there now after being taken down for first blood. And we can see that aside from those 3 kills in the top lane for Darian, they're just not being spread across the team evenly. Alex going low once again. Does have his intervention should he need that one. Meanwhile, this bottom lane, Nif, he's going to throw down the box, misses the hook on towards Edward. Tab's going to get stunned up as well. He's got no mana here. Nif doing a bit of damage as well. In the end, no kills. Bit of an even trade.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. I think Nif was trying to land the flay into the box, and it just didn't pull Edward far enough backwards. So box is now down. Shook is going to get spotted by a ward, so Gambit are aware of his position. You see Diamond moving in as well. So this is going to be a 3-on-3. I think Diamond is going to start this fight. Shook's in trouble.
Yeah, he's going to get pinned into this one. There is a Cyclone, but he takes a lantern home. Safety, nicely done from Nif.
So Nif makes up for the earlier misplay on Edward by saving Shook's life. No summoner spells blown, just a very good Dark Passage Lantern, putting in the right place at the right time. I think Diamond is doing pretty well at responding to Shook's movements, and Alex has been jumped on.
Yeah, Froggen going to use that wild growth on himself. Actually doesn't have any mana left really after that one. We can see that with this Athene coming in there, and Alex just sidestepping. Did take the first chunk of damage from Draven's ultimate, but he will be able to just walk off in the end.
Yeah, it gets away. I think if Froggen had had more mana and been a little closer, could have made something happen. And here's that movement speed from Lulu. Just going to move himself a little bit away from Diamond. Because Alex has no ultimate available, I'm not expecting a dive to happen, but if any team was going to go aggressive, it's Gambit. And take a look, Darian has even moved himself into this middle lane as well.
And he's the one with all the kills for Gambit. Got himself that Tiamat now added in. He headed up towards the Hydras. The blue respawns for a 3rd time and 2nd time in a row that Froggen will be able to take this one away, get back off into mid lane. Athene's obviously giving him good mana regen, but you can see with the blue buff on now how fast that mana bar regens itself up, and that means more tough times for Alex Hitchens. In fact, the turret is going to be going down there.
So very early advantages here for Alliance. They're a dragon up, they're a kill up, and they've been the ones that have been making some more aggressive plays in the bottom half of the map. With the exception of Diamond ganking top lane, Alliance have been, you know, really making some good plays. They had a good first blood into Alex. They secured the Dragon, and I'm anticipating Alliance for the next few minutes to just farm these waves out before grouping and trying to maybe pick another fight in and around the Baron Pit.
Let's have a look at some of the other items coming in from this one. This bottom lane in particular, we already know that Tabs is nicely ahead in that one, 124 to 97 CS. We are going to see Diamond actually coming in. There's the ultimate out of Genja. There will be the Lantern taking them back. Box put down. Here comes Shun. They've not expected Lee Sin to be there. Tabs is surely going to go down. Diamond picks up that kill, but I don't think Diamond's getting away with it. No, it's a 1-for-1 trade.
1-for-1, but they managed to get Tabs down. I think that was pretty good overall. Now Shook and Nif doesn't look like they're over. Here comes Froggen.
Froggen going to go straight in there and quite frankly, forced straight back out as well. And he comes in, goes back out just as quickly as he went in there, and nothing more for the taking.
Yeah, luckily Gambit going to be able to defend against any sort of tower push. The wave clear is very good from Sivir, and you see the moment that Froggen showed himself in that bottom lane, Alex was hard pushing mid. He shoved that wave up, and it forced Froggen to make a decision. Do we go for the tower dive and try to force the bottom lane fight, or do we lose the mid lane? And Froggen very quickly backed away from that scenario. Didn't want to give up that mid turret just yet.
So 5-4 as we approach 15 minutes played in this one, 1-1 in turrets, and Alliance ahead by a couple of thousand gold at this stage. And we said it before that Alliance have been strong throughout the laning phase and have held on to those leads really nicely. Gambit, if we think back to the talk on them though, they've had a couple of ropey early game scenarios when it's been the mid game that's really brought them back in.
So this has been a fairly good start for Gambit. You know, they got a nice early tower. They've got some kills into Darien, which is always a plus. A player who is a little swingy in what he delivers in-game. And I think for Gambit, if they can get some good team fights with Genji's ultimate, oh, Death Sentence doesn't connect, that's when they're going to do well. If you think back to that previous bottom lane fight, the On The Hunt from Sivir made Diamond's Cyclone so easy to get in there. And Alliance need to be well aware of the strengths and the timing of those ultimates, because they can't afford to get multiple knockups on their side.
Shook just taking down the wall. Actually, Diamond and Alex chasing him down here, but not sure they're going to get in range. Actually, Q will land onto Alex for his troubles. Darien has started to move down. You can tell that that Dragon just about to spawn in there. Both teams starting to get themselves ready. Wicked has got his Trinity Force now. Has that teleport off cooldown as well, so he'll be able to join should needs be.
Alliance are a little bit split up now. Froggen is alone coming in from the top. There are 3 members coming in from the bottom. We need to see if the teleport's going to start to channel. It is right in the middle.
Going right in the middle of them. Darien in the Dragon Pit, and there is Tibbers coming down. They're actually focusing Nif, and they've done a good job of killing him off early as well. That's a 1-for-0. Diamond went low, but he got away from everything. Our Alliance going to keep chasing. Q lands from Shook. They are going to keep chasing. They kick Darien back. He's got his Bloodwell still available though, and that means a kill onto Shook. That was awkwardly coordinated. They thought they had more power than they did there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Shook just bit off a little more than he could chew, instantly got blown up when he went in to kick somebody back. Now Gambit are still sticking around. We'll see if they're going to challenge for this Dragon. It does look like they want to. They have expended a lot of their ultimates. Alex is coming from the top, and Froggen is just playing the zone game. This could get a lot more dramatic.
Actually, Alliance start to back away from Dragon here. Too worried to get involved and really fight for that one. And actually, only Wicked is stood in the front side. Nif going to come back in. Of course, he was blown up in that last fight very early on, so Alliance might want to keep going for this one. They at least need to have vision control, and they have to deal with Darien down on this bottom side.
Yeah, I feel like Alliance maybe misplayed that Dragon fight. They are going to catch Darien just a little bit here, and Edward is close by.
Wicked actually flashing in there for that one. That is some aggressive stuff. Darien goes low, but he flashes away. The ultimate not landing. Darien gonna be able to walk out, use his flash, took Wicked's flash there with him though.
Yeah, now, as it stands, Alliance have got more numbers in the Dragon Pit, so they should have complete control of this one. Gambit are not going to be able to challenge. Even though Alliance gave up a bunch of kills, they have secured the Dragon. So 1 Dragon for 2 kills in the assists. It's going to get fairly close in terms of actual gold, and you can see it's still 1,500 difference. But Alliance cannot afford to, you know, go for those pincer movements again unless they're 100% accurate. They caught Alex on a good death sentence. That was how Nif started it off. And in theory, having a 2-3 pincer move is not bad because you minimize the knockup power of that Wukong. Unfortunately for Alliance, the follow-up is what didn't land in there. They couldn't kill somebody through intervention. They couldn't close it out. Diamond's on the invade.
Going to go in there. Is he going to be able to take that blue buff away? He does have his smite actually with the Cyclone. Goes over. He does pick up that blue buff as he goes through. The Cyclone won't land on towards Shook, but they're going to push into him anyway. But there is Wicked going on towards Alex Hitch. Alex puts the intervention on. There's a Draven ultimate. Alex flashes it. Gets the kill on Wicked as well. Shook trying to get away or trying to hunt for the kill. The hook misses. Double kill Alex Hitch. Can Froggen escape this one? He has to flash. That'll get him to safety, but his turret might be in danger.
Yeah, the turret is definitely in danger. Gambit showing a stronger skirmish team in that scenario. It was a 3-on-3 in the jungle, and Gambit just started the fight before Alliance could react. Now, the tower's going to fall in the top lane as Gambit focused that one down. Genja is going to get the outer turret in the bottom lane. It looks like a fight may even be breaking up as well. It does look like it is.
Edward is dead from that one. And in the end, Alliance picking up a really nice kill. Genja will back away. They got the turret though there, but just sticking around a little bit too long.
So Gambit now with his last few plays, they've got blue buff together. They got the inner turret in the top lane, the outer turret in the bottom lane. They now have a small gold lead. They've even got the outer turret in the mid lane down. This is a big swing in control. Darren's going to die.
Yes, he is. Froggen gets that one actually. And that is another one back to them. So we talk about these nice skirmishes that Gambit have put down there, but if they keep getting caught out like that, that's certainly not going to help their cause. If you look at the goal, it's bang even now.
And I think part of the reason that Gambit are getting away with this is they're not hesitating. They went in for the invade, and the moment Shook was available, Darien didn't hesitate on that Cyclone. Alliance not trying to find a similar play themselves. They're not going to catch Genja.
Wow, that was close. The hook coming in, and we did see the spell shield used early on to stop Shook being able to chase him on through. That could have been a death. Meanwhile, Wicked having to go on this top turret. Will Diamond feel like he's stronger than him right now? He certainly looks like he will. He's going to dive in there on top of him. There is a Cyclone used. Wicked is going to tank up one more turret hit. Tries to dash away. Does get the stun down there onto Diamond. There's no one really in the immediate area to close it down. Wicked can back off.
So very well played by Diamond. That is a jungler with 78 CS actually winning out that 1v1. He was able to clear the minion wave and get the turret to also help him put some damage down onto Wicked, but a very good defensive play from Gambit. Thanks to the tower that Alliance secured a moment or two ago, they actually have advantage. Now, this is a quick replay of the fight that started in the bottom lane. And it just looks like Edward gets caught up. Very good damage from Genja. And unfortunately for Edward, eating the flay, being in the box, and a death sentence just means up, he gets sentenced to death. I didn't actually see what the bonus gold was on tabs. 516 he got for securing that kill.
Certainly a nice little pickup for him. And if you look at his items, that Bloodthirster, of course, from earlier on, he's now working his way slowly but surely in towards Trinity Force. Phage and Zeal already part of his kit there. Genja on the other side only got that Zeal on top of his Bloodthirster.
So in this last couple of minutes, the Lichbane has been picked up on the side of Froggen. He's had it for about 2 or 3 minutes, and it's one of the key components. Oh, Diamond could get hooked.
Good flash. Saw that one come in and just flashed straight over the top of it, but I don't know about killing a ward. He might have to back away from that. He did have the backup of Alex Hitch coming in as well. This could turn into all-out war over that ward.
It definitely could. And because Alliance, as I said, they've got that Lichbane on Froggen, he's had it for a few minutes. It's one of the key components that turns Lulu from being utility in this very early game to actually having some good damage now. The hit from Glitterlance, which you can get a couple off when you land that health picks, and the proc from the Lichbane is very, very effective. And we need to see if Froggen can find targets to hit, because if he doesn't, it's not going to be helping them gain control of the game.
Well, one part of this game that surely is to guarantee his action is in about 1.5 minutes when Dragon comes up once again. Last time around we did see a messy fight, I think is the right term to use for what happened down there on its last spawn. Darien in the meantime is pushing out this top lane, but he's going to have to start slowly working his way down there.
Part of the reason there was that focus on the wards in and around Gambit's jungle is because Dragon is so close by. You see Wicked has backed off, he's picked himself up that Warden's mail, spent some of the money. The rest of Alliance are congregating in the river and this bottom half, trying to get as much vision and as much control. They're pushing the wave up towards Gambit, so in order for Gambit to make it to the Dragon, they have to walk through all of the vision that Alliance have, and it allows Alliance to make those engages a little bit more on their terms. Still 1 minute to go. Thresh is now backed off, got himself those boots of mobility, and we'll see if they can actually group up for this objective.
Well, let's see, Froggen just pushing out that mid lane once again, as we're expecting to do. Darien still forcing that that top wave all the way down towards the inhibitor turret, which is all that stands now for Alliance on that top side of the map. There's Wicked, who's currently not having the best time, I think is safe to say. 1-4-1, 30 CS behind that of Darian. And the good thing is for Gambit, these kills in the, you know, I was talking about 3 kills, 4 Aatrox for Darian. He was the only one with kills. In these last few minutes, they've started to spread out a little bit more. You've got Alex with a few kills in there now. You've got Diamond with some kills that allowed him to get that Sunfire Cape done. But with 10 seconds to go before Dragon, it's surely all about it. But Gambit are, quite frankly, nowhere near.
They're not, but neither was Froggen. You can see with Shook being in the mid lane, there's sort of a weird Diamond. If he gets hooked, he's in trouble.
He does get hooked. Can Tabs actually have the damage here to finish him off? No, simple decoy for Diamond will get him out of there. Wicked is going to take this top turret. That's going to give him time to actually get through. The ward timing out in the brush. There's a fresh one put down. So that's Wicked's entry point into this fight. He's just going to keep pushing that top wave out whilst Alliance are delaying this Dragon for Gambit.
He's coming in from the side, and this is going to be scary. Dragon's going to go.
Dragon going low, stolen away by Shook. He tries to get away. Diamond in the middle, and actually Tabs there in a little bit of trouble in terms of his positioning. Wicked was over on the other side as well. Uses flash. Now that he goes into the middle, Wild Growth will knock everyone up. Cyclone's going off as well. Alex got the intervention on himself. He has to flash away. Shook's going to fall down. Alex Itch now on a rampage. Will he be able to clean up? He's absolutely hammering Nif. He goes down as well. Darian will be able to chase Tabs over the wall. Gets knocked to the side. Bit off a little bit more than he can chew, but he has that Bloodwell, and that will bring him back to life.
2-for-1 Alliance also managed to secure the Dragon. Even though Shook went down fairly early on in that fight, because he stole the Dragon, it means net gain for Alliance. They come out a little bit further ahead in terms of overall gold. The fight, as we talked about, was incredibly long and drawn out. The mobility of the teams meant that they couldn't stick to the targets they wanted to. This is going to be a replay, and the thing that you want to be looking at is, first of all, Shook going in for the steal, and Wicked trying to make an impact on the side. He actually holds 3 members of Alliance back. Diamond even comes back for him, and look at this. Both top laners holding their opponent's team in place. Darian has 4 members of Alliance on him. Now, Shook is hanging around on the side of the fight. They're about to re-engage in just a moment or two, and this is a brilliant Wild Growth. 1, 2, 3, 5-man knockup. 5-man knockup, but because Gambit are so tightly knit, the sustain that's coming down from Aatrox and the intervention of Alex, unfortunately, they couldn't actually get more kills. Decent knockback from Shook, but again, just very drawn out, very chaotic. The summary, Alliance couldn't stick to a single target long enough to kill them.
And while we're in that replay, actually, Froggen was in the Gambit jungle. We saw him walking over a wood just as we started off the replay. He went down, was shut down, in fact, from that one. Alex Itch now starts 6-1-1 as Gambit start off Baron. They're going to pull out. Tabs is into trouble here, but he actually will take the Lantern off to the side. Gambit turn back around. Will they go for Baron again?
There was no hesitation from Gambit. I don't think they want to, because they used On the Hunt and they used Cyclone. They want both of those available if a fight were to break out. So smart play in my mind for Gambit to back away. Alliance once again having their lives saved by Nif being in the right place and having a good Lantern to save his teammates.
Less than 1,000 gold separating this team, but I have to fear for Alliance here a little bit. Look at Alex Itch on Kayle, 6-1-1. And although Kayle has had some changes, got a little bit less damage by now with that Q, that is still a very, very scary Kayle.
Yes, very much so. And if given some time in these team fights as we're expecting them to go, a couple more of those Righteous Fury auto attacks from her E is going to melt the HP of Alliance. If you look at Alliance's team comp, Lulu's short range, Draven's short range, Lee Sin area want to be in your face. So you're going to be hitting multiple targets with Kayle's E, which is just going to amplify the damage that he can put down. And this is part of the reason why I think it's working in this composition. When you see Alex heal himself, he gets that big burst of speed. He can put that burst of speed in conjunction with On the Hunt from Silver, throw it on Wukong or Aatrox, and then he can just run amok in Alliance, which is what we've seen both Dragon fights.
And considering we're going to have the talisman in there for them as well, on top of that, the entire team will be able to follow up. Froggen here being a little bit more cautious than early on when he did get shut down, invading Gambit's jungle. Just sticking back there as it's Nif that goes out and puts a couple of wards around Baron. They know that against a team that's as decisive as Gambit, you've got to keep vision of Baron because they will take it away from you.
Yeah, I think for Gambit's composition, now that they've got a bunch of items and I've seen a little bit more how they're actually playing the fights, I feel like the additional mobility that they have is going to give them the tools to win these team fights. They've also got pretty strong split pushers. Aatrox with that Ravenous Hydra, or even if Alex wants to go try, push a side lane with Kayle, he's got mobility, he's got a slow, he's got the intervention to save him. So we'll see if Gambit want to play the lanes, or if we're just going to see another dragon fight being the determining factor, because in this game, it's really only been about those dragon fights where we've seen very big engages of both teams.
Wicked again, pushing out top lane, got his Randuin's Omen now, as does Darien. Darien also building up a little bit of magic resist here as Wicked gonna come out. Froggen is waiting inside of the bush. Will Darien be lured into this one?
Yeah, Diamond is very close by. He's got Flash and Cyclone available. Diamond is now gonna jump onto Wicked. Wicked's the target.
Wicked is the target. Here comes Diamond from the side. Darien down to half HP. We can see that Froggen has already started to back away. The rest of Alliance are actually coming up towards his top lane, but there's gonna be no kills there.
That was actually quite smart. As Alliance were backing away, if Diamond and Darien had gone deeper and actually tried to get the knockups, the rest of Alliance were going to respond very, very quickly. I think the vision from Gambit also allowed Gambit to back away. So a little bit of hesitant there. We did see the Massacre being used by Darien just to get some additional lifesteal back, but it is a fairly short cooldown. It should be up by the time we start this next dragon fight.
Froggen once again looking to see if they can catch out Darien, but he's playing a similar game of his own, actually just waiting on that side brush to see if anyone joins Wicked towards this top lane. In the end, it looks like both Wicked and Froggen are going to be recalling. Darien's going to get himself another wave of farm, quickly cleared out with that Ravenous Hydra.
Yeah, he's going to be able to make his way down towards the Dragon Pits. 30 seconds till it's up. We have 2 Randuin's Omens on the side of Alliance to reduce the movement speed that Gambit have on their side. I wouldn't be surprised to see Diamond grabbing himself one in the not too distant future as well, because both of these teams are going to thrive on mobility. The one thing that Alliance really needs to do is use Shook's kick to kill somebody without losing Shook. Every time we've seen Shook diving in to pull off one of those, Dragon's Rage kicks backwards, he goes down. They got, 1 kill onto Genja, but it hasn't been teamfight changing. It hasn't been game changing just yet.
You can see Dragon now live. Gambit on their side of the river. Alliance just clearing out wards from middle outer brush, and they've got positional advantage right now. Gambit have got vision of them thanks to that ward in there, and they are moving in.
So distinctly different. Alliance have Wicked with them as they start this fight. They're not relying on the teleport. Gambit are going to respond way too late, and Alliance just get that incredibly quickly. That's 4 dragons out of 4 right now.
Hit and run there from Alliance, showing some solid dragon control throughout this game. There's still wards up by Baron. Gambit, let's not forget, have already started off that Baron once, whether that was a realistic chance at Baron or more to draw someone out, which they actually did with Tabs coming in there. Actually, Darien is going to go up the front side and will be clearing out that pink ward that was put down earlier. So Gambit have all the vision there. There's actually not a single ward for Alliance around Baron.
Yeah, on the way up, Darien was just able to clear out a bunch of those wards now himself, and I think for Gambit, the game plan is to force a fight once again. Every time Gambit have taken advantage, has taken towers, it's when they invaded and they instantly peeled and started a fight. They did Baron, they instantly peeled and started a fight. Alliance have been fairly well positioned to not give up more in those circumstances. And as it stands right now, Gambit are just looking for those engages. They tried to get to Dragon, but they were a little too late. They're responding a tiny bit too late in game. And with the amount of vision that Gambit have now got in and around their red buff area, they may want to try force another Baron play.
They're on towards Diamond. Shook trying to get in there. Good stun from Edward though. Must stop him coming too far forward and going for that kick. And Alliance realizing it, they will back off once again. We saw briefly Alex Hitch farming that bottom lane out. He's now added the Lich Bane into his Nash's Tooth and Rabadon's Death Cap. He is, I said it before, scary, I think is a bit of an understatement even now.
Yeah, I wonder if Gambit now want to try to control these side lanes at all. We haven't seen them going for any sort of concerted split push type of effort. I think they want to stack all of their abilities together because they have a strong 5v5. Neff right now is just warding up the river. Wicked is pushing the bottom lane. He's on the inner turret. Gambit, they've started Baron off, and Alliance are close enough to respond. His vision.
It is going down so very quickly. The Wicked is now going to teleport in onto that ward. The hook lands on towards Diamond, but it was his decoy. They're going to get the knock-up. Wicked has to have the wild growth onto him. Takes the lantern back. Diamond doing good damage. Tabs is having to flash away. I don't think he's escaping this one. No. Genja will pick up that one. It's 5 versus 4. What do Gambit do? Do they turn around and go for Baron? Do they chase? They're going for Shook, but he might be able to run rings around him. There is a good slow. Flash tries to get the Q on towards Edward. There are the slows coming in. Alex Alexic is godlike now on Kayle.
That was a brilliant turn from Gambit. The moment they see members of Alliance in that teleport coming in, they threw everything they had at Alliance. Even though Alliance were actually able to wait out most of that Cyclone, it was too long. They had taken too much damage on Froggen. He was a little on the side. The Baron's still going on, and Froggen are trying to interrupt.
Wow, he goes so very low though, takes a lantern away. Almost paid for that one with his life. This is going down, picked up here by Gambit. First Baron of the game. They've not taken a single dragon, but Baron control is theirs.
I think Gambit have won every single team fight. They won the first dragon fight, they got 2 kills. The next dragon fight, yes, they lost dragon to Shook stealing, but they got more kills in the scenario. And in these fights so far, Gambit is just showing that the Sivir plus Wukong plus Aatrox is more effective at sticking to a target and killing it. Alliance have a lot of tools that they can do similar things with, but unfortunately, when they stick to a target, the intervention is doing wonders. It's saving Gambit's team members, and Alliance are not getting the kills they need to win those team fights.
Looking like Alliance's good run of form here in Super Week may well be coming to an end. I don't want to count us out too early here, because if we look at the goal, just 2,000 is what separates them. We've seen though that Alexic in these fights is just such a big factor. 7-1-2 now. I checked his goal a couple of moments ago. He's actually gone back home, so he's going to be coming back into lane with even more power to add into those team fights, and splash damage just destroying them if they group up.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the comps, and part of the reason that Gambit are able to destroy Alliance right now is because of the number of damage threats on the side of Gambit. You do have a lot of damage. Oh, they've jumped in on Diamond.
Yeah, but it's not the real Diamond, it's a decoy. Edward is going to get slowed here and stunned up, but can they finish him off? Good ultimate out of tabs on Draven, but just not enough damage to finish off Edward. And if they can't single out one target like that, how are they going to get any more?
Yeah, and very good use of that talisman. As soon as Gambit realized something was up, Edward throws down the Talisman of Ascension, and Gambit managed to peel away. Wicked does have his Guardian Angel, so he's feeling a little bit more confident getting stuck in there in these team fights, but they need to get a priority target. Doesn't land the hook. No
hook, no luck for Alliance. Can't push on through that one. We've got Froggen on the bottom side. Actually needs to be a little bit careful here. He's going to face up with Diamond, actually get some decent damage down onto him, but Diamond able to walk away, and he's going to regen that up all very quickly with that Baron buff on him. Alexic, by the way, with that cash I was talking about earlier, picked up a Void Staff, so yeah, beast.
Yeah, his damage is very good. With his current build, you actually seen he almost one-shotted Froggen in that previous Baron fight, and it's one of those situations where even though the Q is a little bit nerfed, Alexic and Kayle has got enough items to balance up for it, and the power has been moved. Now, if Gambit want to start a team fight, they could go for another Darien Tower dive, use that Blood Well to regen, and that's pretty good poke. Alliance are clearing this wave fairly well, but outside of that Glitzer Lance, they don't have the largest amount of wave clear.
So then Elysian's Q landing. Darien actually does take even more. There's a hook landing onto him. They're going to try and finish him, but intervention is used. Well, I think wisely there, Gambit deciding to run away.
Yeah, smart decision. It's not over yet. Alliance wants more.
Well, Wicked moving forward. There's the ultimate hour of Draven. It does catch them, but not enough damage to get the kill. Alliance still chasing a little bit from this one. Actually, Gambit just going to back off towards the Dragon, but I think Alliance might want to fight for this.
So Cyclone is still available. If Alliance come in grouped up, Diamond can interrupt. It's gone too quickly.
Too slow, but there are the talismans for both teams popped, and they kind of run around in circles and end off going in different directions. They need to be careful here, Alliance, that Gambit don't just head down this mid lane, though. They've all backed off and are recalling. They might be too slow to defend this inner tower.
Yeah, in that situation, you've seen as Gambit were peeling away, Diamond was just sitting on the front line. He could get a multi-man knockup. Now, because of the damage they've got, that tower is melted like a hot knife through butter. Gambit give themselves a 4,000 gold lead. They got the previous dragon. They're stealing jungle camps on the way out as well.
And it's I mean, we get to praise Gambit quite often, but one thing that they do, for me, better than possibly every team in the LCS, that when they have a lead, they're so decisive about how they finish off games, how they push down objectives afterwards. Okay, they've got the Baron here, and they've managed to take that inner turret now in the middle lane. It limits Alliance completely. They can't really afford to head out into their own jungle without having full vision control. We can see on the top side they're only a couple of wards down. They're basically flying blind on the bottom side.
Yeah, and I think this is the best performance that we've seen from Gambit all week long. It is very controlled and it's very coordinated, even though Gambit have been very aggressive. The moment there is even the hint of a fight, Gambit have thrown everything they have at Alliance. It's worked in their favor. They were a little bit behind in gold for the first 25-30 minutes of the game, and thanks to this controlled, coordinated aggression, I think is the best way to put it, they've managed to come out on top. And like we said, because there's so many damage threats, because you've got Wukong in there with his Cyclone being an interruption, Aatrox that deals damage, Sivir that deals damage, Kayle that deals damage, Alliance haven't been able to prioritize somebody. They killed Genja in their first Dragon fight. It didn't matter, because the rest of Gambit were able to clean up and get themselves 2 kills.
Just want to run through the items picked up by Gambit actually in the last couple of minutes. Mikael's Crucible for Edward on Annie, Guardian Angel for Darian, Infinity Edge for Genja, Randuin's Omen complete by Diamond. That's some big items coming in there. I'm not sure that Alliance are going to be able to stand up to the pressure. They've already been losing team fights coming into this point of the game.
Yeah, as it stands, Gambit has got all the tools that they need to maintain control of this game. They were playing from behind a tiny bit earlier, and they were making their compositional advantages work in their favor. Now that they got the item advantages as well, and we've seen them tower dive, I almost feel like Gambit may try to pull Alliance towards them for Baron before forcing an inhibitor fight, and it does look like that's the decision making. All of Gambit are grouping up around Baron. I'd like to see them putting down some more wards and pulling Alliance towards them, then just instantly once again peeling, using that movement speed from Kayle and Sivir to jump on Alliance's head and win a team fight. They've caught Diamond!
Oh, they've caught Diamond, but he's going to knock a couple of them up there. I don't think he's escaping though. Good pick here from Alliance. What does that lead into though? 40 seconds until the Baron actually comes up. What a 55-second respawn timer there on Diamond, so he's not going to be around when that Baron comes up. This could be the chance for Alliance. Alliance
need to make this count. You can see they're trying to get as much vision around the Baron pit as possible. Gambit maybe a little over-greedy there. Diamond gets caught out by Alliance as they actually turn the aggression on. You see the Talisman of Ascension was used. Tabs has built himself up 1,200 bonus gold from his passive and securing those 3 kills, and Alliance making it very clear. They want this Baron. You can see Wicked is split pushing on the inner turret. Either way, it's going to give Alliance an advantage.
6 seconds until that one comes up. Genja is joined by Darian and Edward on the backside of that pit. Wards put down.
Guardian Angel and Bloodwell. Even though Gambit are less on numbers, they have more lives to play with. We'll see if the fight breaks out.
Get that GA on Shook is now complete as well. The Baron going to get started. Wicked, yeah, Wicked is teleporting in towards the backside of it. Baron is going to be pretty low by now. In fact, it's falling a lot faster than I expected. He could be taken down. He will. They flash in, going for it. There's a blade coming across, but Shook will secure Baron number 2 here over for Alliance.
That was a little bit half-hearted. Gambit didn't really go in for the fight at all. And Alex was chasing down Wicked, preventing him getting to the rest of the Gambit team. So Alliance got the inner turret and the Baron, and now they have arrested control of the game. 1-on-1 as far as Barons are concerned. And with Alliance having that advantage of the Baron buff, it may be what they need to help win these team fights, because truthfully, until this point, it has been more about Gambit.
Guardian Angel there for Alex as well. This is something that, well, Gambit like to do, don't they? Get as many GAs as you can in there. They've got Aatrox, who basically you have to kill him 3 times over at this point in the game to actually get rid of him, which is never an easy thing to work out. But Alliance taking a leaf out of their book, you know. Wicked has one with Aurelia. We have one on Lee Sin as well. Guessing we're going to see a couple more appearing before the end of this game, because right now Alliance have just taken that power swing. We'll see what they can do with it.
Yeah, Froggen's also got his hands onto that Void Staff as well. So now all of that damage is just going to be amplified, getting through all of the magic resistance that's sitting on Gambit's side. We talked about how these fights are already going to be prolonged and drawn up thanks to the mobility and the saves that these teams have. Thanks to these GAs, it's going to get even further extended. Shook being a little overextended there, but they got the Talisman. They got it down, so that's a small win.
A small win that you never know, those small things can come back to haunt you a little bit later on. If Gambit want to disengage, they still have Genja's ultimate though, should they need that boost.
So we need to be looking for 2 things here for Alliance. Either Shook is going to be the one going in, which is why he's up on the front line. He's looking for those Sonic Waves. Alternatively, at their centers, unless Diamond just gets caught up, he needs to be a little bit braver there.
Oh, the hook comes out. They managed to catch Darian out from this one, but Alliance decide not to go full on in on towards that one. Slows coming across the entire team. Minions now coming up this this middle lane. Will they go for that tower? Will Gambit stick around to defend it? No, they won't. They're backing off. Alliance take that inner turret.
Gambit don't want to fight Alliance while they've got their Baron buff on, unless Gambit can find a pick. Once again, oh, they've caught Edward.
They've caught Edward, but again, not falling through, but the Draven damage is just too much. Tap picks up that one with his ultimate. That leaves them now 5-on-4. They're surely just going to bully themselves in on towards this inhibitor turret. That goes down. The inhibitor's going to fall as well, and would you believe it, the first inhibitor of the game goes to Alliance.
This is a phenomenal turnaround for Alliance. They've been even on gold. They've been losing team fights. They're not done yet. Look at the damage on Darien. Alliance are now going to try focus down the bottom lane inhibitor turrets.
The hook doesn't quite land, but Tabs is off for the side again, doing some good damage. Genja going pretty low. There's the intervention used. Darien is low. Diamond is low. Gambit are falling like flies. The box is down. And Darien, I'm not sure he's going to be able to escape. He does jump. He's got his GA now, of course, which is going to keep him alive longer. Flay comes in. 3 men are dead for Gambit. The second inning goes down. Alliance are going to look to win the game right here. The first Nexus turret is falling. That's going to go down without a problem. Only Genja and Alex are really able to stop this one. They can't stop it. Alliance turn around the game. Go 4-0 in Super Week. What a win.
Absolutely incredible performance from Alliance. They were losing team fights for so long, but they found a pick, they found a Baron, and they were the ones that wrapped it up. From getting that Baron to winning the game was less than 2 minutes from the time it happened. They dove onto Gambit, were not afraid. They go 0-4 in their first showing in the LCS. Week 8 Super Week, they go 4-0. Brilliant performance.
Absolutely incredible, and we kind of wish that we were going to have a follow-on of great games that we've had in these last 2 days, and that was a great way to start off the day. I'm not sure I'm actually going to survive until Game 3 if they continue to be this good, but what a performance. We talked about Gambit. They took that first Baron. They didn't have any dragon control. That's something that Alliance did so well.